Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shooting the Shelf here on the Just Shelve It channel. I'm Jesse Arnold. With me is my not talking to me co-host, Curtis Ackerman. It has just compounded because I still have not edited the music to the intro. So, this might be a civil war in the works here tonight. But in other news, we've got an awesome couple of great guests coming on tonight. We've got the team behind Immortal Collections joining us. Before we get into that, hope everybody is having a good week. I feel like Curtis really needs to say something. So, Curtis, go ahead.
I'm good. I will be the utmost professional that I am, and we will have a good show. Because I enjoy happy things in life, and I'll just think about those happy things like Galaxy Quest, like Princess Bride, which are very happy movies. And yeah, we're gonna have a great episode.
Excellent. I agree. Those are fantastic movies. They are both
top
very
10.
uplifting.
I mean, actually, say probably top 3. So
not for me personally, but I'm glad that works for you.
I mean, for everybody, really, but yeah, that's fine.
That's not how top 10s work, but anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Before we get into our shelf selections, we've got a very uncomfortable couple of guests sitting backstage in the green room. Why don't everybody give a warm digital welcome to, I'm just drawing a blank, Tristan and Carlo from Immortal Collections.
Hey guys, how you doing?
It's going great. Fantastic now that you're here and I've got somebody to talk to.
And we love the Princess Bride. Yeah. I really enjoy it.
It's just not my top 15.
I actually watched that movie for the second time. I seen it when I was a kid, but as an adult, and I liked it so much more, I think, because I was an adult and enjoyed the humor.
Yeah, admittedly, I only watched the movie for the first time about a year ago.
Okay.
And it's amazing.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I thought it was a very good movie. Yeah, it was very.
Never mess with the Sicilian when death is on the line.
Death is on the line.
My partner on the truck messed that quote up, and he said, "Never mess with an Australian when death is on the line." So then we started saying it. We started saying it like an Australian,
Yeah, that sounds more like an
Australian. Yeah. There you go.
Well, guys, not sure if you've seen the show. We do this segment at the beginning called Shelf Selections, which is just like some pictures that we've seen throughout the week that inspired us, different artwork. Sometimes it's cosplay, sometimes it's painting, sometimes it's photography, just kind of depends. So we are going to go into that. We'll talk a little bit about the contest, which you guys are a part of. And then we'll, get into kind of talking to you guys and see what you got going on. So starting out with shelf selections. This one is mine. This is Sergeant Bananas. And I saw this and it's just a great action shot, kind of running through the snow and the little fog in the background. And I don't know, something struck me with this one where it just seemed very savage and exciting and straight out of a movie or something. So
it's very nice. One thing I'll say is there's a lot of great photographers, like toy photographers, coming out these days. I mean, like I remember when it was like for the most part just Trevor, but now like there's a ton of really good like toy photographers making
Mythic alone, like people in the community. But I like what you guys do when you check all these out. That fog really makes it feel like it's cold.
I mean, it feels like there's a story to all of these, which is really nice.
Yeah,
that just feels like. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Curtis.
No, that's all right. I don't want to interrupt you, Jesse.
I know it is a predator, but it feels like an animal predator, like a wolf or like a leopard or something. Just like the way I know the muscles are sculpted into the figure and everything, but just the way it's posed, the slant to it, it feels like it's like getting ready to bank because the what it's chasing is trying to evade it or whatever. It's just very dynamic.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. I just have to ban Eduardo real quick from the chat. Okay. Yeah, this, I know we talked about it a few weeks ago. Trevor has his, his photo bomb best of the month. He's only had the one episode so far. But it really highlighted a bunch of toy photographers in the community. And it was really, really fun to watch. So, if you're looking to see, like you guys were talking about, different toy photographers and stuff, that's a good one to check out. So.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to add to Jesse's statement, and this is something that I really enjoy with the Predator figures themselves, and I think is very well addressed in this shot, is like the sculpt for the figure itself, and like the way that they set up the articulation. I always just love how sleek it is. Like it almost looks like you're not even looking at a figure,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, a lot of pictures have that same sort of feeling, but I feel like this one in particular definitely feels like a movie shot.
Yeah, and I think a lot of photographers, that's kind of their goal, is to get it to look like it's not a toy. And we see quite a few that accomplish that. So yeah, this is definitely one of those. Next one is Jesse's.
So this is from Anthony at the Toy Forge. Just a quick shout out, because it's not just photography and customs also, but I mean, this is a custom and parts he's put together for his Space Dwarf that I know he's been chomping at the bit to do a Space Dwarf since they announced Cosmic, and just the way he used some of the parts from the one Fortnite figure that came with that owl, and I think he's got some of the wrenches tucked on the belts and stuff there. And the I don't know if that's like a welding axe or what that's supposed to be, but I just think this was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I do like the incorporation of the owl and all the different accessories and stuff. Really good paint job on this, and then that new head with the it's kind of got that cosmic vibe to that dwarf head. Yeah, just came out really good.
And it looks like he's got some sort of soft good pants going on too.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if that was some sort of I don't know. I couldn't tell if that was like the molded cloth pants like on like Bardrick and stuff, or if that was some sort of soft goods just from this picture. So, but yeah, it very well could be soft goods.
Whatever it is, it's cool.
Yeah, it looks nice. Here's my next one. This is from Lenny, Kingpin Customs. The Instagram is Kingpin_customs_NYC. This is obviously his Green Goblin, which he incorporated the pumpkin from Headless Horseman. And he's been doing a few of these lately, like some different Marvel ones. And yeah, this one I thought was really cool. So I love the incorporation of the different parts on it. And then on top of that, the colors that he used, I thought the green, it doesn't look exactly orc green. It looks like a, more of a Green Goblin green. And then the purples came out really nice. And he's got a satchel, which I thought Jesse would like. But that was, when I was trying to do stuff to make Jesse happy. So
yeah, Lenny's on fire right now. He's doing all kinds of customs. I swear he puts out 6-7 a week.
He's
the
doing
Venom one he did. The Venom one he did was cool.
Yep.
He did some sculpting on that one.
And then he did who's the Mysterio? He did the Mysterio one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's killing putting his Sinister Six together.
Yep. Next one is Jesse's.
Well, I picked this one because I know Curtis likes Hulk to an extent, and I just thought this was a cool looking Hulk, and it was just really cool. James Roseborough on Instagram. I think that's one of the Marvel Select Hulks, but it looks like he's done some, or if it's not, I don't know what it is, but it looks like they've done some extra detailing on it. That's a completely different head. Looks kind of like looks very similar to like a Mark Ruffalo MCU Hulk. And I just like the the remaining of the shirt falling off of the pants there and the cuffs around his wrists and everything. I just thought that was really cool and excellent paint job. So
Yeah, it looks like a full body repaint on there too, because I don't think that's the normal green on there. I like how it's got different shades. You got some spots that are almost like yellowish, all the way into the dark green. So I like the transition of colors on the green. It looks really nice.
Yeah, very lifelike. I mean, not that I've ever seen a Hulk in person, but
one day you'll get there.
We seen a giant ogre, didn't we?
True.
Not true. To be outdwarfed, I had to put this one up because, Templar dwarf. I mean, come on. This is Borderland Horde Customs. And, I've been looking for a good Templar dwarf for a long time, and this fits the bill. So I don't know if this gentleman is coming to LegionsCon. If he is, I hope that he's bringing this because I would like to buy it.
I hope he does.
Yeah,
we've been doing some work with him, and he had a really cool
blank.
Yeah,
the thing you sculpted.
Yeah, the thing I sculpted.
Ogre scale armor.
Yeah, we did an ogre scale piece for him, and he had a guy do a really good paint job on it, and I would like to see that in person.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jesse, what do you think about Templar dwarfs?
I think they're cool. I think I have mad respect for anybody that goes to town painting white on something that wasn't already very close to white to begin with. So mad respect there. It's very crisp, very clean, which I know is something you like in your Templars. But yeah, I just think the torso, the way that variation on the cross is cool, and like the sash or the vestige is, going around his neck and everything are really cool. And I really love the way they did the paint app on the helmet. I thought that really brought out different elements in a way I've never seen before.
Would you say that Templar dwarfs would be in your top 10 types of dwarves?
Yes. My top 10 types of dwarves? Absolutely.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. Next one is Jesse's.
This is was that Rainierart? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I saw this one really grabbed my attention. There's a couple behind the scenes. I don't know if it was in this post or on their page. Just Silver Surfer. It just really it looks like it's pointed up at the sky or like a background effect, and just the way the light is reflecting on that foil or whatever's in there. I think that's the coolest way I've ever seen a Silver Surfer posed without using like a flight stand to get him like up in Photoshop out and everything. So it's like somewhere between a swimming pool and, going through hyperspace and Star Wars or something. Yeah, I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I just pulled up the behind the scenes and I still don't understand what that is. It's like it's in a metal tube or something with blue on the inside.
That's what I was thinking, like some kind of like tube with maybe some kind of like blue reflective wrap in it. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's a really cool effect.
Yeah, it totally looks like it's in like water or something. I had no idea when I saw this how they got this shot, and I'm now looking at the behind the scenes and I still don't understand. So might have to read it. He might have some information on there, but yeah, it's super cool looking. Like this is just badass. I like this a lot. All right. Cool. Next one is mine, and we have highlighted JCM Custom Paints several times on this channel, and he's for those of you that are starting out painting, he's got some great tutorials, especially for flesh tones. He's got a dark flesh tone tutorial, a Caucasian flesh tone tutorial, some eye tutorials that are just, it goes step by step and walks you through it. So if you're like just starting out, they're very helpful. He also does a lot of, either, where he'll get 3D parts from somebody and he'll paint a bunch up and sell them, or he'll do commissions. Sometimes he takes like factory painted parts. Like he'll take like a Star Wars head or a GI Joe head from like Hasbro, and then repaint it, and like the difference between like the factory and his repaint are amazing. This one, I believe this one was a commission that he did. And I just think it came out absolutely amazing. I mean, one of my favorite scenes from the series Kenobi was, where the helmet kind of gets chopped open, and you got that dueling voices between the Vader and Anakin, and just the way this came out is absolutely stunning. I don't know how he got that much detail on the inside of the helmet and then still, the damage and everything on the helmet itself just came out fantastic. So
yeah, that's a really, really killer paint job. That's amazing.
What scale did you say? What scale you thought that was?
I believe this is 1/12 scale, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it's
A
great.
lot of the stuff he does is 1/12 scale. So
the detail on that just looks, I mean, it looks like a Hot Toys like 1/6 scale. Like it's just so crisp. It's so good. Can we talk about Star Wars for just a second?
sure.
I agree with you, Curtis. That moment in Kenobi is one of the best parts in that entire series, hands down. And I like to add, I'm not saying it's better, I'm just saying I like the moment in Rebels when Ahsoka does it, because the only two people that ever got to, I think it's cool philosophically that the only two people that ever kind of like pierced the armor of Vader were his master and apprentice. And I just think that's an interesting dynamic for the three of them. So every time I see one of these with the head, the helmet cracked on the left side, I'm like, someone do one on the right side so I can have it with my Ahsoka.
Yeah, I agree. Both those spots in both those series are good. Vonnie Rotten says JCM does a lot of 1/6 as well. This one I did just look it up. This one is a 1/12 one. So
that's even more incredible.
Yeah, and it looks like the sculpt is by. I'll just type it in the chat here so that you guys can see it, because there's I don't know what I did there. I'll let Jesse fix that while I type this in chat.
You completely cut Carlo out.
There we go.
Okay.
Where's
there
the
it is.
presentation?
So that's who makes that
Nope.
sculpt. Let me try to
Nope.
remove this, add it back in. There we go. So that's in the chat there. If you're interested in getting one of those, I missed it. There's a 22 at the end too. So, yeah, this, once again, if you're starting out painting, I would highly recommend going to this Instagram. This is like a must for any new painter. If you're on Instagram, like, follow this dude, check out his tutorials. That, like I said, it's just a really very helpful when you're first starting. So next is Jesse's. I believe this is the last one.
Beerman Photography. This is, you got movie NECA RAF with some of the Mausers. I'm not sure which one those are. Are those the NECA ones? I don't know. It looks cool, and I think the comment said something like having to go out in nature or going outside to find good shots for turtles or something like that. And I just thought this was really cool. I imagine this is some sort of like, what do you call it? The little drain pipe somewhere, under a road or, something. But I just think that's really cool. And, of course, Raph is the best turtle. So,
he's definitely in the top 10 turtles.
He's my favorite turtle. Yeah, he's definitely in the top 10 of turtles.
Yeah, out of all the turtles I know, I definitely would put it, well, at least top 13, I would put him in there.
That's very generous.
Yeah. I'm looking at that up now. It says sometimes you have to be in nature to find good turtle pipes. So yeah, I do think this is some sort of drainage pipe or something. And it looks really cool. I mean, the perspective of it, looks like it's like he's in the sewers. So yeah, I like the way that came out. That's cool.
And it looks like the way Raph's facing the camera, it's like the Mausers were a problem, and then whoever is in the position of the camera is like the actual threat that's like coming up on him. I just think that's kind of fun.
Yep. So that's it for shelf selections, but did want to just briefly touch on Paint It Up. I was going to go through all the prizes, but Jesse said that I'm too long-winded. Told me to kind of shut up a little bit this week. So we're only going to show the ones that are from last week till now that we've revealed. But just for anybody that's just checking this out for the first time, there's a contest in the Cabal. You basically put a picture in the Cabal of something that you painted, preferably one of your earliest paint jobs, with the hashtag Paint It Up, and you are entered. It's not anything that Jesse and I are judging how well you did or anything like that. It's going to be a total random draw, and we've created prize packages, and those prize packages were put together with a combination of stuff that we've got from the studio, from ourselves, and from a lot of our third-party vendors, including Tristan and Carlo at Immortal Collections. So, this is kind of the contest rules here. I'll just throw that up real quick. If you need to go back and screenshot this later, you can. But there's a post pinned in the Cabal where Jesse illustrated all the different stuff as far as the contest. So if you need to, you can always go in the Cabal, and that's there as well. As far as the contest, so if you need to, you can. Got some
we turned it down.
Echo there.
Yeah, trying to check out the chat.
Here is everybody that contributed. So obviously we've got Four Horsemen, then we've got Wolf King Customs, Toy Forge, Mythic Bits, Noble Bear, our own Immortal Collections here, Detour Customs, CB Make, Monster Machine Collections, Kingpin Customs, Von Burke Studios, and the Forge Collection, which is Reynolds Cruise. Do want to mention, because nobody has seen any of the ones from Kingpin Customs, Lenny had a problem. He sent us a package, and he sent it out on September 13th, and it's been stuck in New York since September 13th. So we looked at it, and I don't know if they lost it or what's going on. So if you're wondering why you haven't seen anything from Kingpin Customs, it's not his fault. USPS in New York is got some stuff going on. So we may make it into a prize package. If not, we'll try to figure out something. Maybe we'll throw it in with the attendance prize or something like that. So
gotta love the U.S. Postal Service.
I know, right? So last week, I think we stopped at O, and then Monday we revealed P, which this is from the head is from Reynolds Cruise, and then you've got these two weapons from Wolf King Customs, which will come with a deluxe Goblin Builder. Then we've got from Immortal Collections here, we've got these two Goblin heads, as well as a couple different weapons from Wolf King that we partnered up with this Swig. Felt like that was a good match there. Then for R, we've got this other head from Immortal Collections.
That's not us. No.
Yeah, we didn't do that one.
Oh shoot, I messed that one up.
Wish we could, but we can't take credit for that one.
Yeah, that's a good head though.
I'll have to find out who did that one then. I messed that one up. Well, I know
I saw that one, and I was like, I don't know which piece is ours here, because I don't.
I'll have to change that tag on there. I'll have to find out who did that. I don't know who that is, but I know this sword here is Detour, and then this sword over on the other side, the sword on the left side is Detour, the sword on the right side is Wolf King, and then I'll have to figure out whose head that is. These are let's see. The heads are you guys, right? You got some. I didn't know what to call those. Are they like elf demon type heads?
So the one on the far right, that one's like our I call him the vampire baron. He's the baron. The other one is our female vampire. I didn't give her a fancy name because it was kind of my first pass doing a female head.
It can go for either or.
Yeah.
She has the fangs. I painted one flesh color. It looks good. And then
gotcha.
Vampire.
And the other one on the far left, we just call him the Rune Demon because of the big rune
right
on his face.
Covering his eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
I call him Sign Head because it looks like he got a sign stuck in his head. But
well, we partnered them up with these huge weapons from Detour. He's got this giant shield and giant sword, and then put that with the Uwit body. We thought that you could make kind of a cool one out of that. So that's where we got that one. Then for T, this is basically just one set. It's the Jesse, help me out. What's this one called?
Lupus Rex.
Lupus Rex set from Wolf King, which has the 2 pauldrons and the head, and then the sword there with the Dark Templar. And then this is all detour, so we've got a couple heads from Stefan, and then these big giant spiky clubs, and we put that with the gladiator. We thought that would be kind of cool. So that is everything. Oh no, we had one more. And on this one, I believe the left one is Von Berg, and then you guys are the orc one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we put that with the sentry, and the idea with this one, Jesse, correct me if I'm wrong, was that you could kind of get 2 looks. You could get like a helmeted look and an unhelmeted look. Is that what we were going for?
Yeah. Or just 2 completely different characters, but either way, I just thought that was a fun way to match those heads up with the sentry.
You could go with either like orc mercenary or like one of the dudes from Prometheus.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
exactly what I said.
Yeah, or you could do the orc head on the sentry and then have them holding the other one like as a helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool too. So we tried to pair these up the best we could. But that was today's. So we've still got W through Z. And then last week we showed this, and this is the attendance chance prize. And somebody is going to win all 5 of these figures plus all these extra parts that we couldn't pair up with something. So pretty big prize package for somebody, but that for this one, you do have to be in attendance for. The contest ends this upcoming Friday at 10/6. And then next Saturday, we will be having the drawing on 10/7. So you will have to be there for that drawing in order to have a chance at this prize. But all the rest, as long as you made a post in the Cabal with the painted up and it's something you did put paint on, then you will be eligible for the prizes A through Z. So, Jesse, did I miss anything on there?
No, I just want to say Zombie commented that head that you couldn't identify was from Jeremy Wilson.
Okay. I'll go back and change that tag, and I'll send you the updated picture so that we can update the post. So sorry about that, guys.
Zombie.
All right. Paint it up. Thanks for your guys' help. We really do appreciate it. The response from the third-party community was just stellar. So we really appreciate it.
I think it's a great contest. I think that all of us, when I first started, I was going to paint some stuff for Legion Shop, and it really wasn't up to snuff yet. So then, we sent our parts off. Some other people painted them. They did a real good job. But I finally wanted to try one. So that the first thing I painted for Legion Shop was the troll head, the bigger one that we got out there, and I was able to take some time. Sometimes you just got to take the time and don't rush through it. I think the first things I did, I tried to get done in under 20 minutes, because I was so excited that we had the parts. I just wanted to get that paint on there. But then I realized, the slower you go and the thinner coats and all that, just a little bit of patience and, it'll look way better.
In his defense, the ones that weren't wholly up to snuff, it was kind of my fault that those
guy
got seen.
Yeah, I seen you were one of the first guys to get that from Legion Shop.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "That's my stone troll head." Like, there's, dude, it's awesome. I love it.
I like it so much. I'm afraid to do another one because I don't know if I'll top it.
I've seen the ones that you guys have painted for the ice troll though too. That looks nice as well. It's the same head, but it's just the colors look really nice.
I don't know if you guys saw the like we've been calling him the Rockadile.
Oh yeah.
But I got a little jealous because he was the only one out of the both of us that have done a troll head. It's something that size, and I wanted to do something, So
yeah. I think I saw somebody do that just recently that came out really well. Can't remember who it was though, but yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're fun. But yeah, so the contest, yeah, it's definitely like just start, like you said, start somewhere, do rivets, do whatever you got to do, and then airbrush is way up there. I don't like doing it, personally, I like wet blending. I like doing
Mhm.
it, but like on the bigger things like that, even shooting up, because when we went to intern, Sherry was talking about shooting up on the shadows and the
Mhm.
highlights on the mythic figures. So I've tried to do that a little bit too. But you know, I have one of those Harbor Freight airbrush sets, and I have different colors in each gun because a lot of people, when they first try, they have the one gun and you got to spend 10 minutes switching every color out, or you buy a real expensive one. It's like $200 or something like that, like an Iwata or something like that. And then, you don't, it just takes so long to do it. So,
Yeah. It's
usually
one of those things we've talked about it several times on our show, but it's like, you can get the same look with a bunch of different ways of doing it. Some people use the airbrush, some people use wet blending, some people use dry brushing. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. And it just really depends on your own, personal preference. And I kind of try about everything. Like I watch a lot of videos and just see different painting techniques and stuff, and I try them. And some of them have worked for me, and some of them haven't. And it's just you just got to figure out what's the best for you.
I've noticed that it also kind of depends on the paint you're using, right? Because
Yeah.
like I've tried wet blending, right? Like just because like I'd never tried it, and I tried it with like craft paints or even army paints, and it
Mhm.
just doesn't blend right. And then I switch it up to like game paints and whatnot, and it blends effortlessly,
Yeah.
So like on one hand, it's like it is more expensive, but sometimes like there are certain techniques that like just depends on the paint.
Yeah. I could see that.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, you got it, man.
No, you go.
I was just going to bring I know you guys will be at LegionsCon this year. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about from LegionsCon last year that was like some people were floored with was like your joint thing that like had the multiple legs and stuff.
Our cosmic alien.
Yeah.
One of the best compliments I got that weekend was somebody, and this guy like he didn't know me, right? So like he didn't know like what I was interested in, but one of the best comments I got was, "Man, this really looks like some kind of like Wayne Barlow thing." And how is this guy to know that Wayne Barlow is one of my favorite artists?
Yeah.
So
It
like
influences, I guess, right?
yeah. So I mean, like to for someone like that to tell me that like one of my pieces looks like something that was done by one of my biggest influences, that was huge for me.
Yeah, I mean that just means it's coming out in your work,
The
Yeah.
thing about that thing is we haven't even put the parts out yet because it is there's a lot of parts for one, but we switched to a different resin. And because I don't know that I think that one was intact, but the other ones we had on the table, it was on the corner last year, and they kept getting bumped on the table. So by the end of the show, I had to like stand guard at the corner of the table so nobody would bump the table.
Well,
four of those guys or two of those guys fell over, and right where the second set of arms are cracked. So we didn't or couldn't sell those.
Yeah, like Joe, who you can see in that picture.
In the background there,
Oh yeah, you got
Joe had to do some emergency surgery to him.
It's stuck together, but yeah, those we had a smaller version of those too, and those are kind of more buttoned up. We'll have the smaller versions, not the whole figures for sale, but the little parts.
Yeah, I mean, just that little 4-way joint that you guys created to do the legs.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, I don't know anybody that would think to do that. That it was very unique.
The funny thing with that is like as soon as we first saw Cosmics and like it was first announced and we saw the wave, my brain was already starting to think of all the different options because with fantasy, with mythics, there's I would say somewhat of of a strict criteria for that. You know, it's like plate armor, swords, shields. Like, I mean, you can have fantasy creatures in there, so you can put animals and like armor and stuff, and that's cool. But when you move to you know, sci-fi space, right?
Yeah.
Like aliens are so alien, you know, that it's like you can really do anything with it.
It
you
opens
know?
up possibilities to just like crazy stuff.
So
Yeah.
and the four-legged like spider leg look was like one of the first things that came to my mind. You know, it just the it's kind of funny because the first thing I thought was, why has nobody thought of that?
Yeah.
And then after we did it, the Motu came out with the Origins line, and Mantenna came out. You pretty much had the same legs.
Yeah.
But Curtis, I don't think you didn't come to PowerCon this year, but
I did not.
We did the same guy again.
Ooh, yeah.
But this time we gave him the two bigger arms. So he was on the table. I lost one of his legs. It's floating around somewhere. But the neat thing about this one is when this guy came out, the blues almost matched. So I had him like in front of him like that, like it was his like backup. The big
like
guy
his
was his
bodyguard or something.
Yeah. So, and I kind of the orange. I like this metallic orange. This is one of my favorite. I know you like the Centuries, Curtis.
Oh
but
yeah.
The blue on this guy is awesome, and I didn't like the purple at first, but it's okay.
Yeah, but, I think that's the best tribute that they've done.
Well, can I see him?
Yeah, that looks super cool. I love the pinchers for the hand, like the robotic hands on there. Yeah, that's really cool.
You can't really see because he's wearing pants.
Space underwear.
Yeah, we actually made
underwear.
Okay. We actually made some pants that are like super reflective and like just crazy colors. Cool. So that's a cool thing for Cosmics as well. But I wanted to kind of show you what it was like under here. It really is just kind of like a crossbar.
4 dumbbells, really.
4 dumbbells. And you know, I was kind of afraid that I wasn't going to be able to do this for LegionsCon because, and this is the only reason it works, is because of the updated troll legs, right? How they moved to ogre legs. My bad.
Oh yeah. When they changed the hip joint.
Yeah, when they changed the hip joint to a ball, that was the only, like, if we hadn't have gotten a few of those before the con, I was going to be really disappointed.
Yeah, we're always like thinking of parts to do, but a lot of times the figures aren't out yet, so it's like it's on the list of things to do.
Is there anything based on the stuff you've seen in the Ox Crew wave or other Cosmic lines that aren't out yet that have inspired you, have given you ideas that you're not holding off as a surprise? Like, is there anything you can talk about that you might have in the works?
Well, I know for me, as soon as I saw the shoot, I can't remember the Ox.
Which one? The good guys or the bad guys?
The good guys.
The armor.
Yeah, the armor for Ox Crew. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The armor for that. Like when we were there, because we were in the room when they revealed them, so I got to take a deep look at them. I got to talk to Joe about a lot of things. I picked his brain a little bit and caught him. Almost caught him on a couple of things. Nah, I mean, we're friends, So he gave me some stuff, but the thing I really like. It really is just kind of the armored bodies. Like they're all very almost uniform, but they're all different.
Yeah.
In certain ways, and one of the things I thought was like, say for the little guy,
Orvar.
Or was it
Orvar?
Yeah.
He's not very little, but he's definitely shorter than the
He's shorter, but he's stockier, you know. And I really liked his legs, so, and it got me thinking about like making pieces to go on like certain mechanical parts on these new figures that could just make a completely mechanical figure.
Yeah,
right?
well, they're based like on the armor right now, but like as soon as like I see like in my mind, of course, like, I'm trying to think like what they would do, and if they don't do it, but like just the attachments you should be able to put on the shoulders and just big guns, make them into like a war machine type thing, because they're not that right now. They're just the scavenger crew.
Yeah,
you know?
like,
But yeah, it's always bigger guns, like bigger pads, robot arms. You know,
I want to take those legs and make a Metal Gear out of it.
yeah,
'Cause
that'd be cool.
I like the head that comes off his wife. Put it on the blue one when they did that swap on Jeremy's show. I think that character right there with that head is cool. And I'm wondering if that robot head is not maybe one of the heads of the other survivor, like either the two that we haven't seen yet. So maybe that might be one of those guys, or a computer, thing, companion or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that thing's cool. I like parts of each one of those things, and then you get to the lizard looking people, which is going to be cool. And
yeah, I really like those guys too.
Yeah.
And another thing for me was like, how they introduced multiple accessories, like just stuff to go along with the figures. I would like to see a lot more like accessory packs, like just like props.
I think everybody does. They did that with the clock. Did you guys get your Red Death yet?
I just got it yesterday.
Yeah. Jesse, mine's stuck in PA for 3 days.
I picked USPS, so mine hasn't shipped out yet.
Yeah, mine's been in FedEx for like 4 days. It said it was going to come in Friday. I'm like, I'm going to have it, in time for the show, but I didn't get it. So
it was funny because my all-in shipped, and then like 2 days later, because I had ordered 2 extras, 2 days later, the next day I ordered 2 extra, but it didn't ship till 2 days after my all-in shipped, and then they both arrived on the same day. So
there you go.
Yeah, but it is really cool. I got it up on my shelf right now. I've got brought out my Headless Horseman and put the Red Death on there. Kind of did my little Halloween setup today. So
there you go.
I know with Jeremy, I think it was on the show with Eric this past Wednesday on Mythic Conversations. They were talking about how like the Ox Crew Wave, like that accessory Dio kit was like kind of testing ground, and then with Headless Horseman or Red Death was kind of like a continuing. So it sounds like they're really testing to see how far they can go with this stuff and potentially give us more. So if they did like like treasure chests or like weapons racks or things like that from the Horsemen that have like faction symbols, or that'd be a cool way to re-release the banner set. I think is you get soft goods banners like with a I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I hope that people really like went out and bought those on the pre-order or buying them from the retailers and stuff, because I would like to see more of that. And I think it's the one thing that will go across multiple lines, that even if like for whatever reason Cosmic or Mythic doesn't strike somebody's fancy, if they're into Joe's or they're into, something else, like they could look at that set and go, okay, I could see where this would fit into my display. And, even whether it's toy photographers or just people that just have like, stuff set up in their DTOFs or whatever. So hopefully those things sold well, because I definitely would like to see more of them. That clock is fantastic, man. I stared at that thing for about 15 minutes before I even got to the figure. So yeah,
I can't wait to see what kind of dioramas come out in these next few.
Well, I don't know if like from what Eric was talking on Jeremy's show, like I don't know if they're actually going to do like big back set pieces.
I mean, I'm not talking
maybe like a couch. Like it'd be cool to see like the couch come out.
I'm not talking like specifically like
what's Attila sitting on.
Like what like what.
That's what I want for LegionsCon next year. I want a George and Chris 2-pack with a couch.
There you go.
That's what we need.
Yeah, but I'm not talking specifically about like the stuff that Horsemen like specifically put out, but just like the stuff you see in the community.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't really picked up any dios yet. Usually at the conventions where all those are at, my wife puts a hold on my spending till the very end. And then I run. That's what happened. She didn't okay my cosmic purchase at PowerCon until we found out what we cleared from PowerCon. But she did the same thing last year at LegionsCon. And by then, half the heads that I wanted were sold out and whatnot. So I've been putting overtime in at work.
Stuff available this year. I know. I don't think Noah Pratt's bringing any dios, which I was kind of disappointed in that because he does really good with that. But I think he's sticking to more painted parts this year. But I know Brian Lynn was just on last week. He was talking about dios. Crashbox Customs will be there, obviously. I think they might have 2 tables, so they'll definitely have some stuff. I'm sure there's a few others. My wife's actually making a kind of either vampire skeleton kind of throne room dio. So there'll definitely be some stuff available for sure.
I think there's definitely going to be a big window, a bunch of windows now that Red Death is out there. So
yeah,
that to go. I think. I mean, if you've seen what Jesse, what I posted on the Instagram earlier, like I think a lot of Red Death stuff could be in the possibility of bringing windows and stuff like that.
The shot that Trevor did for the promotional shot is using a crash box. I think it's the Echelon 2 in the background, and it's just shine light through that window and stuff. So that stuff comes in handy. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I know I'm working on my 2 big dios now. I hope to have a couple smaller things that are just easier to pick up, but I don't know if I'm going to get everything done.
I think your dio was the biggest thing there last year.
Oh,
that deer was the biggest thing. It just hovered above everything else.
We definitely understand what it's like to not be able to get everything done.
My cosmic dio this year is going to be almost 60 inches tall.
Oh
wow!
Very cool.
That is ambitious.
That is I found some styrofoam for a flat screen TV, and I'm making a cross section of a spaceport or something.
Awesome.
See, that's the thing with dios is like you got to have that room, like in order to display it. Like I saw, Ryan Zarek did that where he brought Almeida down and had him do a huge one, but then he brought somebody else down there just recently, had them do a huge dio for him, and he just must have all kinds of room because I don't have that kind of space. Like if it doesn't fit in a DTOF, I probably can't have it. So I do have a few of the crash box pieces, but I keep them on top of my curio cabinet. So
Joe Gonzalez, who's usually one of our very dedicated listeners and commenters in the chat, is here. Oh, it looks like you're responding to him already. He had to pull over to mention how much he loves your parts, and he really likes the Oni parts are your favorite customs.
Yeah, he did some cool stuff with those parts for sure.
Yeah, the Oni parts are definitely near and dear to our hearts.
Well, yeah.
So there might be some Oni parts coming up in the painted up contest, and who knows? I'm just saying, like maybe letter Z might be a really big package. Who knows? We'll see what happens. So, but yeah, I love that you guys have your own kind of aesthetic and the stuff that you do is very different from other parts companies. So can you kind of talk about that? Like some of, like you were talking about earlier, your influences and what things you guys enjoy doing?
For me, I am very influenced. Like I said, I love things like Wayne Barlow, Brahm, Frank Frazetta. Those are my artistic influences because when I was in art school and studying, like those are the ones that really stuck out, and that's what I wanted to kind of base my style on. And just through the years, like other things have been in there as well. The past couple of years I've taken a deeper interest in like Japanese mythology and stuff like that. So, you know, when I came out with the Raijin and Fujin Oni customs that we brought to our first LegionsCon, you know, I did a ton of research on those guys, you know, and you know, looking back, right, as an artist, there's always things that I wish I would have done, and things that, like, if I could go back, I'd do a bit better, right? But with those particular
Those three
pieces,
heads, they seem to hold up pretty good.
yeah, I mean, people still seem to really enjoy those pieces, and those are still probably some of my favorite.
Yeah, so for those Oni heads, like we started out with the goblin heads. Yeah, we started out with the goblin heads, and then we turned one of the goblin head into an orc head, and then the orc head kind of morphed into a Oni head, and then the Oni head morphed into like 2 or 3 other Oni heads. So like you don't always have to start from scratch with a sphere. Like, you know, when Emil sculpts, he does that. We do that sometimes, but a lot of times, you know, you'll have something right there that you're like, well, why would I resculpt ears when I already have something with ears?
Right, you have kind of a base one that you work on.
That's what I do a lot. A lot of what I do is Tristan, he's real, like, he has to have the vision, research it, and concept in his head and sketch it out and know exactly what he's into. With me, it's like I'm sketching in ZBrush. So like I'll just take something and I'll do 5 or 6 different iterations, and I might not like any of those 5 or 6 iterations, and I'll scrap them. So like as far as, like I said, the troll heads, I got 10 plus scrap that I may pick up again, I may not. So like in my own computer, which just crashed on me this year, and I lost so much stuff.
No.
Which is why you haven't seen a lot from us this year. It was quite a big. My Dropbox wasn't updated because it was an old Apple, and then basically a lot of my Cosmic that we had started after last year's LegionsCon kind of just disappeared on me. So that was a pretty big hit to us this year. And then I just went into, you know, painting the old parts, but and it was something that I bought a hard drive for, and then I was going to back up everything, but then Tristan needed it for his thing. So then I gave him the hard drive, and I needed to go buy another hard drive. But, you know, sometimes you lose stuff and you just move on, you know.
Yeah.
Over the last 20 years of doing art, I've had drawings, had an air conditioner leak into all my college work.
Oof.
And just like, because I had them in like a tote bin, you know, and I would just draw and throw it in there. So like that's what one of my teachers said to do. Didn't tell me not to put on anything air conditioner that would leak into it. But
ouch.
So I've lost quite a bit of work in my life, and you know, I take those hits and then you just keep going, because for me at least it's that creative outlet, you know. And I know I'm known for the painting of the group. So like when you say what's it look like we bounce sculpts off of each other. And if I'm not liking something, I'll tell them to do that. Like a recent thing, I'm like, you need to do this. Or don't pull back on that, you know.
Or sometimes he'll start something and I'll like take over and kind of button it up.
Yeah, at the start, that's kind of how it started. But mostly his sculpts are his sculpts, and my sculpts are my sculpts for the most part.
And I would say that's probably the other half of the reason why it takes so long sometimes for us to put stuff out, is because I'm, like he said, you know, I always got to do the research. If I have a vision in my head of what I want something to look like, you know, sometimes I get myself in this hole where, you know, it's like when I'm doing the research, I'm subconsciously looking for the exact thing that's in my head, you know? So,
and then sometimes he's sitting there for 2 days studying a piece and trying to figure it. And I look up and say, it's fine. Let's go. Like, move on to the next thing. Like, it's like, but it's not. I'm like, no, believe me, it's fine. Just move on to the next thing. So yeah. I'm kind of like the manager of of my wife's soft goods part. Like, I need this many pants, or I need the pants to look like this.
Yeah,
keeps my ADHD in check.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing with him. But
we got somebody just commented here.
Oh yeah, she did. She she set the reset on my my computer,
Oof.
Because it was bogging up. So she just went back to a date, and I was at work. I was delivering pizza. She said, "Oh, don't be mad at me. I just deleted all your college work." So I said,
Oh,
Ouch.
yeah, she felt real bad about
I mean,
that.
it probably
one.
wasn't that good, but some of the pieces that we have now are things that I started back then. Because, like, as far as hard drives go, I mean, they've lasted for 20 years. So I have stuff from 20 years ago.
Yeah, I just got done painting one of your guys' pieces that you did for Legion Shop. The ogre head that has the skull on top of it.
That
I've
was
seen that.
that was the first thing Jeremy ever commissioned me to do.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
The funny
Yeah.
thing about that piece is he kind of based that from the ogre head with the ring in the nose that you have in the contest. And I come home one day, he's like, "So I got a commission." I said, "Oh yeah?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "So let me see it before you send it off." He's like, "I already sent it to him." I said, "When did you get it?" He said, "Well, I kind of just put it together in a couple hours." I said,
"Well, and that's the other thing, right? Sometimes
it just works.
Sometimes it just works, and I can finish a piece in 5 hours as opposed to 2 weeks." But
yeah, it's a really cool piece. I've had it sitting here for a while, but I just didn't have a body to put it on. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to paint this thing up because it looks like it's going to be fun to paint. And then I'll just, have it at my table at LegionsCon. And that thing was like a lot of fun. And then I always do this thing where I finish a part and I don't want to post anything if I can't say where it's at, like where people can get it. So I've got this stuff in my collection that I've collected over the past couple of years that I have no idea where it's from. So then I have to go on the research and I got to like send it in like different chats to people. Hey, do you know who made this? Do you know where it's at?
Right.
And then I was like, oh, Immortal Collections did it. It's at Legion Shop. So yeah, that was cool.
That one. I took a lot of I took a lot of things that I did from that piece, like some of the techniques that I hadn't really tried with other pieces, but really worked with that one. And like I put it into, say, like the demon skull,
the Wendigo,
like the Wendigo or the demon skull that Jeremy also had. And to be honest, I'm pretty proud of that one because I felt like the bone work that I did on that one.
I was pretty impressed. The funny thing is I haven't painted the ogre head or the skull head yet. Like I haven't painted a bunch of our pieces yet. And like I just went through the list of all the things we have at the conventions and I'm just like, there's like 8 things I haven't even touched yet.
That kind of gets me to the next thing I wanted to ask about, because I know like that Wendigo head and some of those other pieces that you did with Jeremy. I think once Necronominus comes out and some of those things like Herculi and stuff like that, like those heads would be perfect for those kind of bodies.
Well, even with Poxus, right? The ghoul heads that we did.
Yeah,
that'll be really good.
The ghoul heads will go good on Red Death as well because he's all black and withery, so that ghoul head will fit it perfectly. So
with him having a black body like that, you could do a really nice white, like off-white dry brush on that. Be really nice.
So do you guys, like, as you see stuff that's coming out, do you base any of the things that you're doing based on the bodies that are coming? Because like one of the ones that I've been thinking about and I wanted to ask you guys about tonight is from the Poxus wave, the Jinn Calazir. Like I look at that thing and the first thing I think is Immortal Collection is going to have something cool for this guy. Like, I don't know what you guys are going to do, but it just feels like it's right up your alley.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny that you say that because when we saw that the first time, we did kind of have some pretty interesting ideas. We thought, for one, the Oni parts would go really well with that, because you swap out a couple things and you could just completely change the piece around. My biggest thing with the Jinn, right, because that's like
brute scale,
was the difference with the legs, right? They changed how they did their legs, right? And I felt like it gave more opportunity for like extensions, like extending the side, like the length of legs, and because that's you know, we talked about with the cosmic thing, right? Like changing things up and doing one thing that we have a deep interest in is like proportions, right? How can we shift the proportions and create something just like completely different, right? And for me, one of those things was definitely was like, you know, scaling up the legs, you know, like giving him longer arms and stuff like that, and just playing around with it, you know.
I think with that guy, you know, not that we're, because to answer your question, Chris, like everything figure we look at, we talk about like, well, like Jesse, you've seen at the convention. I don't know if you remember the table or not, but like I had a Rakagor, the body for Scourge, and I did that dragon head for it, and as soon as I seen a Rakagor at Poxus when we were at Intern, I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing a dragon head, you know, because it was there. The funny thing is we actually saw that 3D print in one of the bins the day before. So I'm like, oh, we're getting a dragon. And I know, but anyways, I knew like right there and then we're going to do a dragon head. Curtis, I think you won from Legion's Lair that white Oni head.
The one that you painted up like the Joker?
Yeah. As soon as I seen
awesome.
Desabolis, like I'm like, well, we're making a Joker custom out of that, you know. And
awesome.
I had to wait 2 years or however long that took because of COVID.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like, you see these things, like they release a new wave, but then it's going to be a long time before it comes out. So then, I'm guessing, I don't know, you guys tell me if I'm right or wrong, but like as stuff gets closer, like I think we're getting ready to get possibly the second wave of Cosmic. Poxus hopefully should be by the end of the year. Like, do you like as stuff gets closer to like hitting the water, is that kind of when you guys go, okay, it's time to work on parts for these sort of things, so that as it hits, you've got parts that are ready to go that'll match up with it?
It depends. It depends on like what we're thinking, right? Like if it's something that requires a specific measurement, it's kind of hard to start working on something when you don't know what the size is going to be. With like heads and torsos and stuff like that, it's a bit easier because those are pretty universal. So like in that regard, we don't really have that much of a problem. But when it comes to some of the more technical like pieces that need to be a bit more exact, in some ways.
I know like with the first wave of Cosmic, like a lot of folks were kind of waiting to get them in hand because you didn't know exactly like, are the proportions going to be the exact same? Are the connecting spots going to be the same? What are the things that are going to be different that are going to change, like the Spexian, for instance, like with that whole, neck peg and the curved nature of it, like, there's some different things on there. So I could definitely see, as they update their parts library and kind of do some different things. We were just talking about brute scale. Like, what are the connections of that going to look like? And how do you make something to fit that? And what size does the neck hole need to be? So,
not to mention that with the Cosmics, right? They like all of their pieces have like a ton of like different ports and like areas where you can add additions and stuff like that. So I think I definitely appreciate that in the line because that further enables our like creativity in the line. So like with that being said, the thing you saw with our Cosmic piece, that's really just the start of what is possible.
Yeah, but the problem with us is there's so many ideas and not enough time. So like, and that's the thing. And for me, and I know you guys have talked about like stay away from parts that other people release. Well, now there's so many people in the community releasing parts. It's like there was so long where I wanted to do werewolves, but too many werewolves were out there. And when the elephants came out, a couple of people did elephants, and I'm like, not doing my elephant now, And so then it's like you keep going down the line. So that's why with the Onis, we've pretty much stuck in that little zone there, and it was great when the Monkey King came out because there's more people wanting that. But again, time issues with us, and that's why, you know, we did have our website up and going for a while there, and a lot of people bought from that, and we thank you all for it. But I think we're right now to concentrate on the sculpting part of it. We're just going to pretty much put all of our stuff back on Legion Shop, because it's like we have so much we want to do, but there's just not time, you know.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you guys, because I know, you know, this, all the stuff that I've painted from you guys has come from Legion Shop, but I do know you sell some stuff at LegionsCon from your table, and I didn't know if you were selling stuff individually. So it sounds like you do have a website, but you kind of
we took that down.
Gotcha.
So I really wasn't promoting, because again, we don't have time to produce. We don't have time to do all these things.
Even just this year specifically, it's been a very busy year for us. Like even just outside of the stuff that you haven't seen, right? It's been a very busy year, because I started taking on commissions and he started working longer and stuff like that. And so yeah, it's been a bit difficult, but having a website to manage and to promote on top of that has just been very straining on the both of us.
As far as like Instagram goes and Facebook and the cabal, like I generally like and comment, but we don't really post. I'm really bad at social media. So as far as having a business, trying to promote, we're going to leave that to the rest of those guys, because they do a great job with that. We just want to make a couple little pieces a year, and then just kind of, I just like when people paint, like Curtis, when I see you painting our heads, like I just like when people paint the stuff and I stumble across it when I'm scrolling, you know. That's the best part for me, you know.
Yeah, we know I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Jess.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say we have the art side down, but the business side is just kind of where we struggle.
Yeah, I found myself like Curtis is always telling me to promote this, promote that. Like he's like, you don't promote yourself, you don't do it. And it's like my brain doesn't go there. Like it's all just like the creative side. It's like, no, I don't want to go talk about myself. I don't want to promote this. Circling back to the heads, I realized some of the first orders I've ever gotten from Legion Shop, I think was the 1.0 size, that orc skull head. And then I think I ordered either the Wendigo or the Demon, and then I got sent one of the other ones as like a test print, or to paint up. And so I have a couple other things of yours that I haven't gotten to yet, and I'm like, man, some of the earliest stuff I painted for customs was your guys' stuff. And it's like I want to go back now that I'm getting better with where I was with that stuff a year and a half ago. It's like, man, I want to redo that orc skull. I need to order another one.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting, like we were talking about with that Wendigo head and stuff. I think like as you get further along, like people are usually focused on the new stuff that's coming out, but there's a lot of good older parts that as new figures come out work well with them. And I was actually just talking to Lynn about this today, because I just painted up a couple old parts from Walter DeMarco that he sculpted like 3 years ago. And Len's like, man, I don't know that I've seen anybody post a picture of that in forever. Like people are probably thinking this is a brand new head. And, you know, there's some stuff out there that, like, you know, it's good to revisit that parts library every now and then, and just, you know, hey, by the way, this new figure's coming out. We think this part will go pretty well with it, or, you know, just kind of post a picture on Instagram or whatever, because then it kind of reminds some folks that, oh yeah, I forgot about the Wendigo head or whatever the case may be, you know. Well,
I feel like that's something that we've definitely capitalized on, right? Because, you know, like we said, you know, we don't come out with too many pieces a year, but we like to make more, like keep the old stuff that we have going, right? Because we know that there are people that still enjoy it and still want it, right? You know, and you know, you're right. You know, with the new stuff that comes out, especially like with the Monkey King, right? When he came out, you know, we thought right away, it's like, man, you know, it's glad we still got those Onis going, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like you guys were just talking about the ghoul head. Yeah. Like, man, that would, like, if I'm you guys, and this is just, you know, take it for what it's worth, but if I'm you guys, as soon as I get that Red Death in hand, I'm painting up one of those ghoul heads and throwing it on there and putting a picture out there for everybody to see, you know, because it's like, especially if anybody buys extras of those, it's like, man, that like you said, that fits perfectly on there. That would look great.
But yeah, and you know, there are some things you look at and you think it's like, man, this looks like it was made for it. You know, I look at the Red Death figure and just the body for it, and then the ghoul head, and it's like, man, you know, that really could have been. Looks like it could have been made for it.
One of my favorite pieces to talk about like that is our little Immortal Collections shield that we have. The first year at LegionsCon, Scaphoid came back, so I painted a bunch of those. The green, the toxic green, you know, and then
I remember that one. Is that on your Instagram?
It should be.
I'm getting it.
There's a couple of so we actually just posted it today. That picture we posted, I painted it red. That's what I was getting at. So like the Red Death came out, so I painted it red for the Red Death. You know, Tibius was out, so I painted one with the stripes down the head. So anytime a skeleton comes out, there's that one.
Oh,
so anytime a skeleton comes out, I'm just gonna paint it in that skeleton's color, and it should.
That's awesome.
Go right in there. Yeah.
Is that on Legion Shop as well?
No, that's just kind of we bring them to conventions.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of something we did specifically for the con, and that's kind of something we just really kind of have at conventions.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's that thing. So yeah,
that.
I don't know how I've missed
the one that you had painted
last year, but
yeah, I don't think I painted much up last year. And again, last year most of the time was spent painting them cosmic pieces, and repainting them because 2 days before LegionsCon, I went to paint outside with a rattle can, and the whole thing flashed white, and all my parts that I spent 2 weeks painting just completely got ruined. So I went back, and he's losing it, and I'm losing it, but I'm keeping control, and I basically repainted that thing in a night, and then cleared it before we left to go to LegionsCon. So it was kind of smelling a little the first day at LegionsCon.
We the week before the con, we're always in high stress.
This year I'm trying to do less. I got a big project that may come together or may not. But little things like that I know I can do.
That looks just like the Red Death mask.
Those pants, like you showed them that that dwarf earlier, that dwarf, space dwarf. Those are my wife makes those, and we've had those for the last couple of years. We done last year for the Furious 4, but it's going to go good with the Red Death stuff this year. One of those other pictures was on the Instagram was the Revelers, right? Yeah, so that was one of those things that inspiration just struck. So I got those like metal pieces a while back, and we had a last year on what's the Red Demon? Is that I want to say
Krampus?
Zara, but that's your what's the Red Demon girl?
Zarya?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had that on her as a little mask, and I'm like running around tonight, like I want to do Revelers. Where can I get a little mask or something? So we'll probably end up 3D printing up some little masks to put on them, or we might do some things like that because I don't really know where we're gonna go with it. But my wife also said she can make little masquerade masks where they put the little wire and they put it on their face,
like they hold it up next to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I said if you think you can get that done, go ahead. But yeah, those are a little blurry pictures. I just took them real quick on the phone.
Did you just post those before we started the show?
Yeah, that's what I was painting all that. I was painting those in. Like I said, an inspiration struck. Like, let's get them up there.
But, I was wondering why I was getting constant notifications from it.
Yeah, I don't post for like 2 months, and all of a sudden I post like 3 things. But so that's another example of parts that go around and come back. We did that for the vampire thing last year. The Baron guy, that chest piece and that waist piece right there. And I'm like, nothing's Victorian and Mythic, so like, when are we ever going to use this again? Well, then they come out with Figure Obscura, was set right in that time. So I'm like, hey, I guess this thing's coming back around. So,
well, and that's why I really like to just branch out and do different things, right? Like even if it kind of breaks the sort of medieval fantasy genre, like. With Figure Obscura, he could come out with anything, and anything that I've previously sculpted
could work.
So
yeah, this would make this. I don't know why I didn't think of this last year. Probably because I got the Horsemen ahead of this. This would be a great base for Braum if you wanted to have Braum to go up against the Horsemen.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Braum, the big guy.
Yeah.
The guy that mocks Ichabod.
Now, is that a complete torso or is that a chest plate?
That's a complete one. Yeah, we
Okay.
had came out with those before we knew that there were swappable torsos. We haven't got into the swappable torsos yet. It's on the list of things to do.
Like, what are you thinking about the swappable face plates? Is that something that you guys think that you'll experiment with at all, or is it just easier just to sculpt a whole new head?
It's definitely something that we've talked about and that we'd like to do, but again, with time constraints and things like that.
That was a guy we picked up at PowerCon. I didn't get a chance to back the Kickstarter when it first started, but that's just me trying parts on him. It was not supposed to be a customer or anything. That was something that I was just like, let's see if this part fits that. Let's see if this part fits this. At PowerCon this year, we knew we wanted to be there, but we didn't know what to bring. So I didn't know whether we should bring Mythic stuff or He-Man customs. And it seems like I should have just done the Mythic the whole way, because nobody in the He-Man audience, was biting on any custom stuff. So it was just the community members that came to PowerCon that kind of bought some stuff off our table.
Yeah, those He-Man guys don't have any money. There's too many He-Man lines out right now. They're buying like 50 versions of the same toy. So
I just bought Buzzsaw Hordak. He'll shoot the little buzzsaw out of his chest. He's talking.
This
about
looks
himself
cool
there.
Right here. Laser beam.
Yeah, that's the guy.
PowerCon.
Yeah, and there's that dragon that I sculpted
a
couple years back. I've just been sitting on it unfinished, and then the Kragnar came out, and then I did one in green for IshCon. So that's a pretty cool. We're gonna have that. That's gonna be one of our main pieces, is the disappearing dragon head there. Yeah, so we're gonna have a couple of those painted up for LegionsCon this year.
What about those wings? Is that something that you made, or is that
no? Those are the NECA gargoyles. I actually did find a material that I'm going to look into. They use it to make gun holsters out of. Mm-hmm. It starts with a K. It's like something weird, but they heat form it, and you can actually press it, and it's a 12 by 12 sheet, so it'll actually end up plastic like. So I'm guessing that in theory, if you take that thing, heat it up, and you cut your shape out, you should be able to bend wings. So that's something that I just found out about like 2 days ago. So it could be possible to have some big old plastic wings.
That's cool.
There you go, Curtis.
That
Rocket Isle's
anytime
eating
you can
Mephitor.
chew
I know
up
he's one of your
Mephitor,
least.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that would make this better in Curtis's eyes if that was bryophytus.
Yeah. He might he might give you a hairball though. So
he's already digesting him.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of videos. It seems like they were getting more traction, and then I kind of, petered out on that and just kind of.
I know we kind of went by it pretty quick, but that shield that you painted green, I really liked that because it felt like I played World of Warcraft for a long time, and it felt very like Illidan or Fell-like. Yeah, the colors on there were really good. That might go well too with the retail Headless Horseman that's coming out. Like the colors on there look great.
Yeah.
Oh, we could definitely do that skull in like pumpkin orange or
glow
something.
in the dark.
The retail one has the like the glow in the dark green or the neon green, and this would work perfectly with that. So yeah, tonight's the first time I've ever seen that shield. So yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely have to, if you've got that at your table this year, I'll have to pick one of those up.
Yeah, there are some pieces I look at and I still kind of I enjoy just some of the different details that I put into it. For this one, for me, it's the framing around it. That's like the ornate details that frame the piece. Like the skull itself, is the main center, but and the thing that everyone's going to look at. But for me, I always look at the things that people don't always look at.
Other people might not necessarily care about.
All right.
Your own work.
I got a question for you about this, because you said you put a lot of research into stuff, and and artists, I mean, sometimes artists do stuff just because, oh, that looks cool, but is there a meaning behind the imagery you chose for the logo, or was it just something you guys came up with together? Is like, because you've got that fireball or whatever that is in the middle of the broken skull and the swirl in the eye, like, is there a story behind all that for you guys, or is it just kind of
with this we could really kind of get into the whole lore of how we created Immortal Collections, which is kind of funny.
I think the answer is kind of and kind of not.
okay?
It was a very long process of,
because he was originally going to do minis, miniature D&Ds.
Okay.
It was just a very long process of creating different logo designs. I have pages and pages of like concept sketches that I did, and this one was the one that really just,
he wanted wax like melting, and then we were doing it with a skull, or we had a candle melting and the skull next to it, and well, that looks too much like this or that looks like that, and I thought that one might have looked a little too close to the Quake logo, and then we put the fire in the middle of it, and then so it's basically a skull melting turning into wax, and then the fire is, the immortal flame or whatever. So yeah, there's that. But as far as like going back and forth to the skull, I'm like, do you really want to make a skull our logo? It's like, I've been airbrushing motorcycles and gas tanks. Everybody wants skulls. I'm sick of doing skulls. You know what I mean? So it's like, you really want to do a skull? And he says, yeah. I said, oh, okay. It's your thing. So we came up with that. That's probably the 20th iteration of that we did. And we both end up liking it. Really well.
Only 20? It kind of felt like we came up with way more iterations.
Maybe it was 20 a piece. I don't know.
It's funny that the red one that you did like looks so close to the Red Death mask though. Like the way that it's dripping like that. Like, yeah,
I'm kind of glad that it came out after.
Yeah.
But there's only so many ways to make a skull drip. I mean,
right.
There's this blood, ours is supposed to be wax. A skull is a skull, and everything's been done a million times, so it's like you're going to see similarities everywhere. And that's again with the parts, it's like they did us a favor, because now I'm pretty sure that Shield at LegionsCon should be a pretty,
it's going to be a hot seller
in red, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as far as that logo goes, I had that on what they call an alpha map. So any type of armor pieces we have, when we go into ZBrush, we just project that on there. So that thing could be projected on a chest plate armor, shoulder pad. It could be a belt buckle.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Like, it's very reusable. And when I do get the Red Death, I might go ahead and just kind of armor him up with a couple of our logos on it as well, just to kind of have, or whoever's headcanon is whatever. Maybe they could be his minions or his soldiers. That could be a smaller banner they could hold up, for the Red Death. I know it doesn't go with the story, but everybody makes up their own things.
Yeah, once you get it on your shelf, you can do whatever you want with it.
Right.
Or I mean, you don't have to wait till you get it on your own shelf. But
I like the color scheme of the logo, like your logo itself. Like, so if you did some shields that had that color scheme with
the orange and the blue, that's actually, we actually attended the same high school 20 years apart, and that was our high school colors.
Nice.
Kind of why
high school, and that color scheme on that shield would be pretty damn cool. So
I think I did one like that, and I don't think it went. And then somebody ordered a scaphoid shield, and I had to repaint over that. So like we did actually have one, but yeah, it's a cool. We were going back and forth with colors. I like a purple and a green one I did on some of our socials. There might be a purple and green version of that, but again, with me, and as far as my creating goes, I'll just go and do a million iterations, and I'll sit there and nitpick for two months on something before it comes out.
Oh, he loves to nitpick.
Well,
especially on his work.
I wanted to ask you something real quick, so I'm gonna embiggen myself real quick. So these teeth, they're like the best teeth I've ever seen. Like that was one of the things when I saw this on Legion Shop, like one of the reasons I had to get it. Like the way that you painted those teeth
Yeah.
look so freaking realistic.
Thank you.
Like,
it's a lot of time.
I don't know.
It's
like,
been a lot of time with the teeth.
I've tried to recreate this on so many different sets of teeth, and I just can't. Like, do you have any tips or how? Like, because I don't know. It looks like it really is teeth.
So I did. So again, when we first started, I didn't know where we were going with it. I did film a tutorial on it, but we were going to start a YouTube channel. It never happened because of time constraints. But basically, I do the base color, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do the wash first.
Mm-hmm.
The wash is the next step.
It'd be like a dark tone.
It's called Strong Tone from Army Painter, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's Strong Tone. And then after I do that, then I will take a dry brush and I will dry brush over any of the unevenness with the original color. So that gives you the dark and then that. And then I will go in with a lighter color. So the highlight basically, and wherever I think it should be lighter, that's the highlight. And that's really thin, almost like a dry brush, really thin down. What I do a lot is I use craft paint and then 411 reducer. It's an airbrush paint. And that way I can water down the paint to the consistency I want. So then I'll go in with that. And that's almost like a wash, but it's a lighter color for the wash. So that'll blend it again. And then I will actually go with your first color dry brush and I'll just kind of blend all that together. So all those steps kind of happen so quick together. It's not really wet blending, but sometimes it almost is wet blending. And the last step is I'll go back over with the wash one more time. Very, like, I call it smart washing because it's like I'm not just glooping it on. Like I'm with the finest tip paintbrush I have, and I'll just trace the gum line. So that's how it sinks the gums.
Then what about the gloss? Because like I've had this head for, I don't know, a year and a half now, and it's still like the shininess on this teeth. Like it looks like he's drooling.
I think it was like a Vallejo like gloss varnish, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We just picked it up at
Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
Hobby
So
Lobby.
I'll look to see the exact ones.
It's so good. Like I just love the teeth on this thing. That was one of the things I wanted to ask you about tonight because I was like, man, like they're the best teeth I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen,
Thank you.
A
lot of that's in the sculpt.
I've seen a lot of people's work, but your teeth are the best.
Thank you. That's in the sculpt. A lot of that's in the sculpt too. So like, it sucks up that dark pit. So you see the pitting in the teeth. Like I went in and modeled that specifically to catch the wash. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how I do every teeth. And that's why like those heads took forever. I did like 5 or 10 of them or whatever for each color. And like every time it's like, time for the teeth again, it's not a fun process, but everybody liked the teeth so much the first time. Like, well, I gotta do this every time now. So
it's fantastic.
Thank you. It's a lot better on the smaller figures because I don't have to,
get his detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Less noticeable.
When you get that big though.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to cut corners.
Thing's a monster. Well, I can't imagine when you're painting those big crocodile heads like that. That's got way more teeth.
Yeah.
I think this can lead into something I wanted to say earlier, but just like when it comes to like influence and just the pieces that we put out, one thing that I think is the first priority in both of our works is we try to make sure that every piece has its own character and it, like almost like its own personality, right? And with the teeth, even just something as small as well, not small, but
a tooth
as a tooth,
personality.
it adds so much to the character that someone who isn't even thinking about it, they wouldn't realize that that's what is drawing them to the piece. And that's just something that we try to do with everything that we create is make sure that it's unique. And yeah,
it definitely comes out on this troll head because he's got some gnarly ass teeth. Like he's got a couple here and there that are like, man, his parents did not pay for braces when he was a kid. Like he
right.
definitely needed them.
He's probably getting punched so much. His gums are probably like they probably can't grow any other direction.
Yeah, I think his face looks like a gnarly old boxer face. Like he's been knocked around a couple too many times.
Yeah,
it's a Mick in troll form from Rocky.
Right.
yeah.
Just give him a little knit cap.
There you go. I'll have my wife knit one of them up for us.
So I know you guys did you did some of the Onis in like 1.0 scale as well as like ogre scale. Have you thought about doing a troll size? Like
I have.
Well,
yeah.
I've had somebody ask for one in that size, which I'm in the process of getting together. The thing about PowerCon and LegionsCon is it's like, and again, why we kind of shut down the website in general and stopped taking commissions so far is because, I'm trying to get some to somebody for, and hopefully I can get to that person in enough time for them to paint it for LegionsCon. But it's just like when you're trying to run a business and preparing for a big event, it's double the pressure.
Gotcha.
And then,
I know Jesse was showing one earlier that you had kind of painted up orange, almost like a Beast Man. It's kind of what I got off of it. And I was like, man, that new Brontis that they had that they just put out. I mean, there's quite a few of those out there.
Yeah.
And you throw
I've done
one of those heads on that.
I've only done one of those in orange, the head that you have, and then Walter has that one. So that guy. Yeah.
That one's one of our favorite customs. Like he did that, and there was even one he did where he threw some like copper like loops through it and like wove it in there. And I was like, you think you can like when I saw him do that, I was like, man, that looks really awesome. You think you can duplicate it?
Yeah. Make me one more.
Well, the one-offs are different because like when I'm batch painting, when I was doing heads for Legion Shop, they had to be all the same. And at PowerCon, I did like 4 or 5 different versions on that with all the different Onis. And we're sitting here with all of them in the hands. I said, Tristan, which one do you like best? He says, I don't know, because there's like 4 or 5 of them. It's basically similar paint jobs, but sometimes they turn out better.
You just got to give them less choices next time.
Yeah. But and it's funny because like those heads, they'll go on different lines, and that's what I was trying to show off at PowerCon is that these don't only have to go on one line; they can be used for. But I think the customizing community, though it's nurtured so much in the Mythic Legions, sphere. It's so sparse outside of Joe's for any other line.
Well, I think like this one that we're looking at here, like if you had something like that in that color scheme blown up to put on a Brontis, man, I think that thing would be fire.
Yeah,
like
cool.
And it.
Well,
maybe no pun intended because it does look like flames, but
yeah. Maybe if the person that wants it is thinking, listen to the show, maybe they'll do it. Brontis color. But I think that's the one that they want. So we'll see. Gotcha. You might see that floating around at some point in time.
That's cool.
So. Now, are these? I was just looking at Legion Shop. Those heads are they not available anywhere at the moment? The
Which
Oni
ones?
heads, the unpainted Onis.
I don't know if they're on there or not. They were on Legion Shop for a while there.
I think we were saving a lot of the unpainted heads for our website. We just haven't really.
No, I'm pretty sure I sent Jeremy some unpainted Oni heads. I think whatever stock we're bringing to LegionsCon for anybody that doesn't get to go to LegionsCon, I'm going to send a lot of that back over to Legion Shop. So the unpainted heads, if Jeremy wants to put them back on there, then those will be restocked at that point in time. The same thing with the goat heads. I teased today that it's going to be awfully red. The goat heads there that I did last LegionsCon went so quick, and I think with blood armor coming this one again, I'm going to do more red goat heads, more red Oni heads. I don't remember if it was Toy Bro put one of them Oni heads on the Sun Wukong, but somebody did. Maybe it was Nolan. Put a red one, a Mountain Oni maybe on one of those. So we're going to bring some red stuff to LegionsCon. That'll be I guess the focal.
Red and black seem to be the most popular things people want.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, there's that Victorian vampire robe that we had those last year. I think somebody picked up that Alithia, and that's that girl head that you had in that pack.
oh man,
one of those prize packs.
Oh, here?
Yeah. So that's that head. If anybody is looking at that prize pack, that's kind of where.
Okay.
I gave her big eyebrows for some reason. I was trying out big eyebrows because I heard our big eyebrows were coming back, and then, I don't know. I slimmed them down after that.
Yeah, those are great. Did you say something about a robe?
Well, we've sold those. She's made a few of those. Again, if we do the females to go kind of with the Red Death theme from this year, if we do the male characters, we might have red robes or dresses for the ladies. She's done skirts for them.
Okay.
And Tristan has a torso that will lend itself to a dress. It doesn't have the big bra armor on it and stuff like that. So we made those so that she could eventually make smaller clothes for them.
Okay.
Can I drive for a second here, Jesse?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to show like some of the stuff that's on Legion Shop right now. Because I had forgotten that you guys did that Vampire Sentinel set, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was
another commission.
We just did the head. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't do the shield and the sword, dude.
No,
just
that was something else. And the Struts did the robes.
Gotcha.
For that guy. But that was so cool how everybody had pieces into it and it came together.
And then here's that rune demon that you guys were talking about. Like, it looks like you got 3 of those left right now. That is so cool.
Yeah, that thing didn't move. I think I only painted 5 of those, and brought those 2 years ago. So they've been hanging around. And
man, that is cool.
I painted it to fit the Belphegor body, and then Red Krampus came out after that. So he's got a lot of blues in the face. I don't know if it really matches a lot of stuff, but again, a lot of the armor for the Legions figures show no flesh. It's just heads exposed, so it could go.
I've only seen this head because you guys sent us one that was unpainted, and it's black, so it's hard to see the details. And like the way that you painted it here, man, that thing looks phenomenal.
Yeah, Jeremy made a real cool custom with that thing. I don't know if that's the exact one that he was selling, and I don't know if it's the actual custom sold yet or not. But
wow,
yeah. And that's the Tengu. Yeah, we never released those parts. The bird guy, the head went to Legion Shop again. I think I painted only like maybe 5 or 10 of those, but like the vest piece and all that stuff.
We made like a whole set for that guy that just never really.
We're not really good with the business side, like I said. Sometimes that Rune Demon head, he did that like 2 years ago, and it was just sitting on his computer. I said, Tristan, we need to send something to Legion Shop, like. Don't you got something? I'm like, what about that demon head you did? He's like, oh yeah, that thing. Let me print it up, make sure it prints out. So
see, this is another one that I think would go really well with Necronominus.
That's definitely. The Perculi, right? On that head.
And there's that Wendigo. Yeah. Those are cool. So here's that orc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit of stuff on here.
So that head is not the same exact head as the one that is in your prize pack, I don't think.
Oh, this one, yeah, the one.
It's very similar, and that's what we actually made the Oni heads out of eventually. So it's like, again, the things all morph,
right,
from one thing to another.
And
as far as the character goes, like those little grumpy goblin heads, those are one of our first pieces, and like we talk about trying to give them character, and like you raise the eyebrow or you give a little story just by looking at the face, like who's this guy, and some of those pictures don't really show the detail. I think the first resin we printed in it wasn't dark, so you couldn't really see the crevices until you threw some paint on it. So
yeah, like these are kind of hard to tell, but like this one, yeah, you can definitely see the details a little bit better.
Well, and with say like that goblin head that I did, that was probably one of if not the first thing I sculpted for like Legions, right? Back when I first when it first clicked to me that people were doing custom parts for these figures, like right before we even bought our first figures. I wanted to make something like that because I had seen somebody do like a really well done, in my opinion, goblin head, and I was like, I want to do a goblin head,
Yeah.
because it was like it just inspired me. So like, even though that was really just kind of the first of many to come, I think it's interesting to see kind of where you start and where you're at now, and just thinking about like all the stuff I would do differently.
So how did you get into like the actual sculpting and stuff? Are you guys both self-taught, or is this something that you've gone to school for or anything?
We both went to college. He went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, and then when I met him and saw the stuff he was doing, that made me want to do.
Well, let's explain it. So I went to school in 2000 at the Art Institute, and then graduated, met his mom, married her in 06. So we dated for a couple of years. I married her. And then, so he was in like second or third grade, and I was messing around with 3D Studio Max, and I stuck him on the computer, and I taught him how to box model when he was in like second grade or something like that.
Oh boy.
And then for 10 years, I helicopter parented his artwork, and like, your proportions suck. You need to fix this. And just beat him down with it. So like, I find the Mythic Legions community great because everybody's so upbeat, but I think like the House Seal brothers said, like they come at each other, and that's kind of the same way we go back and forth a bit. But then sometimes I think that he's holding back, so I'm like, you can tell me if this isn't any good, because I'm just trying to like win your approval. He's like, well, I'm just trying to win your approval. So we just kind of go back and forth with each other. But so then he graduated, and since he saw the cool stuff I was doing, which was more in the video game realm, and the animation realm was what I was trying to do.
Well, I already knew where I wanted to go, like, because when he told me where he went to school, like that was pretty much it for me. Like I already knew. Like at 7 years old, I already knew where I wanted to go to school.
But I told him, I said, you don't have to go to school because I can teach it to you. Like,
right.
You don't have to go. But he wanted to go for the experience, and he met with his best friend in school. So like, okay, you're gonna get that college tuition, along with that. I said, but when he went to school, he won a scholarship because we've been sculpting. A little bit of a scholarship, pretty substantial one, but like he's been sculpting from, I had ZBrush 10 plus years ago.
I mean, we had the trial version.
Yeah, so like we've been in and out with 3D programs and ZBrush. Like he's pretty much grown.
Oh man, yeah. If he's been working on that since he was like 7, he's like the John Connor of sculpting, Like,
even
he was born for this,
Well, even when I did go to college, I went in with such a, I guess,
advanced knowledge.
I mean,
experience.
A certain level of experience, and I won't say that there weren't things I didn't learn in college, but there were a lot of things in college that I had to teach myself. Because it's like, they have their curriculums and they have what they want to teach you, but I had what I wanted to learn. So I ended up, getting a jump start on things like ZBrush. So by the time we had a class in it, I was already doing it, And some of my teachers, like, they would ask me questions because I already knew.
But as far as ZBrush goes, that was a self-taught thing for me. So being on the truck, I just have videos on, and I'm listening to videos, and I'm listening to people talking. And when I'm sitting there riding and not driving, because we have 2 men on the truck, then I'm sitting there researching videos and figuring out how to do stuff. And I come home and I said, Tristan, do you do this? And he's like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, well, this is a thing here. And then he'll do something, and I'm like, well, I don't know what that is. So it's like, yeah, we're both, as far as ZBrush goes, it's a little bit of both.
It's kind of a funny running joke, right? Because there'd be times on his day off he'd sit downstairs and like start working on something, and he'd have a question for me about something in ZBrush because I'm on it all day.
And I get to it like once a week if I'm lucky.
Yeah, but he'll have a question, right? Something that's like not working right or something that he just doesn't know, and then like by the time I get there, he's found it or he's figured it out, and he's like, "Oh, I found it." And
after he's walked down the stairs,
and the only thing I'll say is, "You're welcome."
Yeah, I was listening to I think it was the Euro Legions podcast a couple months ago. They had Saba on there, and he was talking about how he kind of got some of his start working with ZBrush and doing some sculpting and stuff, but doing it really for gaming, like you were just talking about. And I was surprised to hear how much crossover there is between like sculpting for something that you're going to print versus making something for like gaming. So can you talk a little bit about that, like that transition for kind of what you were doing versus what this is?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so I guess the biggest reason I didn't go into gaming is, one, it's a very competitive industry, like probably one of the most competitive industries there is, at least in art, right? Because like, most people that go into it, they're nerds, they're gamers, they're going into it because they love the characters, they love the concept art, right? The big flashy concept art, and that's what they want to do, right? Well, so does everybody else, So,
and then he's a character designer,
and that's the highest demand,
the most, yes, the most people
there is
going to. So,
also with like it was kind of that alongside me not really liking like what was going on in a lot of like game studios where it's like artists weren't being paid enough, or crunch or certain controversies in the industry. Just there's a lot of drama in the game industry. But after that, I kind of thought to myself, because we already had a 3D printer, and
which I bought so I could print toys while he was still in college.
And I had teachers in college that did 3D printing, and they pretty much gave me sort of a rundown of how like it worked in the 3D printing. So when I decided that I didn't want to do video games anymore, I just kind of jumped straight into minis, because I started playing I guess committing more like into a long-term Dungeons and Dragons campaign with a bunch of friends I grew up with in high school, which is I still go to. I still play with them pretty regularly when I'm not crunching on projects. But so that's kind of how I started getting into 3D printing and stuff. And
I kind of convinced you into it a little bit.
Also that
what happened to me is I was 3D printing Marvel Legends scale heads. So like the first thing I printed was a little goblin for Marvel Legends before I even knew Mythic Legions existed. So like we were printing up, doing Venom heads, doing a couple things here and there. As far as I go, I just love sculpting in the computer, and I knew I wasn't going to go into the game. So it was like for 10 years, just a passion and a hobby of mine. And yeah, I did go to school for video game and animation stuff. Then I met his mom, and then life happened. And then it's always been my passion. So I'm never going to give up on it. As long as I got hands and I can see, I'll be sculpting or drawing or doing something. But when I seen him kind of floundering a little bit with the, can I get a job somewhere? Do I want to actually commit this into the video game? That's when I'm like, well, look, I printed this arm out and I can slap it on a He-Man, and now it's a 5-point articulation He-Man arm, or a Lego. Like I looked at a Lego, we bought some digital calipers and we measured them. I'm like, this can work,
Yeah,
so I kind of
proved to him Lego and everything.
I proved to him that it could work. So then that started his brain like, ooh, I can make minis now. Ooh, I can make, my character. my little guy, you know.
Right. And really the only difference between like sculpting for games and sculpting for like printing is really just the tolerances, you know,
Plus,
like
it's tolerances plus it's the how the squares are oriented, like they call it topology. They have to be built a certain way. Like he said, that the tolerances between walls has to be more on
so
the 3D prints.
and with video games there's a lot more to the process, you know. There's sculpting, there's taking that sculpt and simplifying it so it works in games. There's texturing, there's like rigging, animation, all of that. It's just it's a long process to get a video game character together.
And with 3D prints, I give him giant files with giant faces on it, like millions of little points that make up the model, and he looks at it and cringes. I'm like, just print it up. It doesn't matter. Just, you know, just support it and print it.
Yeah.
And in his brain, he's like, but it looks horrible, and you have to downscale it and do all these things. I'm like, I don't think so.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's a lot more simple. You know, when you're working with like 3D printing and whatnot, you just really the only thing you really have to make sure of is that there's no holes, there's no gaps, there's no pockets where resin can build up.
And that is in video game models. So like in video game models, there's all kinds of things that aren't really connected, that are just like a shoulder pad would just sit there hovering in the air, where the Mythic Legions has to plug in.
Yeah,
so
there's
like,
a lot of things they fake in video games that you can't really do when you're printing something.
So
like
you have to redesign. You have to redesign. That's the hardest thing. That I wrap my mind around that pretty well. He had trouble at first, so he's like, I just don't get the joints and how everything works. And I have a mechanical nature, I guess. Like I worked on cars and things like, so I know how pulleys and joints work like that. And then he's eventually figured it out, you know. He's putting together some good stuff now. And
well, I mean, if you come up with the 4 dumbbell multiple leg system like that, you know, you guys definitely figured out something. So
the funny thing is we're trying to figure out how to do that for the 1.0s, because that would just be a brick with holes in it, which is an easy thing. So we might have one of those for the 1.0, so you can have some 4 legs. And again, you talk about like, well, no, why couldn't it be 6 legs, or why couldn't it be 7 legs, you know, or 8 legs or whatever. So why couldn't it be a centipede guy? And you know, so it's just like somebody did one. Go ahead.
I gotta bring Nathaniel Armstrong made the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland with him and Hal Seal used the neck to waist adapters they cooked up or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
that was cool.
I gotta say, when you mentioned the artist that inspired you earlier, specific the first one,
Wayne Barlow.
Yeah, that I probably shouldn't say this. I remember seeing that book when I at a comic shop when I was in college. It was like a book about hell or something.
Well, he did make his. I think one of his books is like hell, or I know one of his like art series that he has is God's Demons, something like that.
Okay.
And I don't know who Wayne Barlow is. I've seen his work, but like I couldn't pick it out. You know what I mean?
Like I remember seeing it on the shelf, and I don't know if it was like a new book they had gotten in, or if it was just sitting there. And his art makes me so uncomfortable, but I can't look away. Like it's beautiful, but like I made the mistake of looking him up because I think that name sounds familiar, and I saw the cover to that book, and I was like, it's intriguing. Like,
see, that's the stuff I love. I love the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, but you don't want to look away because it's just.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I looked through most of that book. I'm surprised the guy didn't kick me out of the comic shop. But like every time I turned the page, I was just like, I don't know how to describe it, and I think that's an amazingly powerful thing as an artist to be able to do, where people want to look away, but they can't because the artwork is so like it's definitely nothing I would ever feel comfortable putting up as a print in my house or anything.
So
But it's amazing.
Jesse, are you saying that he's not in your top 10? Is that
So the whole thing to come back to, like, that's why that skull, that demon with like the bone coming out of its head,
Yeah.
feels very
Well, that was a direct inspiration. I'll admit that was a direct
You see
inspiration.
this guy? That's one of my favorite
Okay.
things that Tristan's done.
I did that one of my first couple semesters in college.
Yeah. I said, when are we going to make that guy?
Oh wow.
But the thing is like, I don't know how dark we want to get with Mythic Legions. You know, I know Eric, and I don't know what's under the Red Death skull, but if it's getting gross, that's up his alley. So
hey, man, they just did a pool of blood coming out of a clock, so I think it's fair game, man.
Well, I mean, that guy was heavily inspired by like Silent Hill, like because that stuff is also very like interesting to me. Yeah, just the whole like creepy, almost dead, but like sort of.
Well, that guy's body's basically the Red Death body too. So.
Did you ever see the movie The Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio?
I have not.
Yeah, that guy's creepy.
Yeah, the guy that made that movie. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Beautiful visual storyteller. A lot of the stuff in that movie, because she like the whole, it's kind of Silence of the Lambs, but instead of like analyzing the mind of the killer, he's like, they have him unconscious or dead or something, and they're trying to, they like go into his brain, so it's like going through like the brainscape, it's really disturbing, like walking through his head. And some of the stuff again from that movie reminded me of stuff in that book. And oh gosh, what is that director's name? That's gonna drive me crazy. I'm pulling it up here. Tarsem. Beautiful storyteller. He does some amazing stuff. But yeah, that movie is really interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Very disturbing.
I've seen it.
He also did one called Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that movie, they cut this cow in half, and like the
horse
the sections,
yeah,
the sections were still beaten.
Oh, I think I've seen that image before. Like they cut him into like different sections, like multiple different sections.
It's one of the first sections of the movie she goes into. It's like a horse. It almost looks like it's in a museum gallery or something. It's really nice, and it's this gorgeous horse. And then these blades or glass just come down, and then it separates, and it's just like it's just like he did one that was a lot less disturbing called The Fall, where it's this guy telling the story about these adventurers, which has some again really beautiful visuals in that for inspiration. But yeah, sorry, I had to say something about that artist because again, it's powerful stuff that's you can't ignore.
Well, like movies and video games and stuff like that, like those are things that also heavily influenced me because growing up, we didn't always have we didn't really have cable, right? So like there would be a lot of times where we would only be able to watch the movies we had, right? So I grew up watching a ton of movies, playing like a ton of video games, and I definitely adopted like a more pop culture interest in things. And, when it comes to making my art, there's a lot of things that I, like we've said before, that we want to do. Right. And I want to just like dip my hands in everything. Right. Like even now, I've got projects that I'm working on, and it's just like, man, I kind of want to move on to something else because
that's his ADHD because he was supposed to have like 5 more parts on top of that alligator that is not there. He's just moved on to other things. He's supposed to have a helmet and the shin
100%
guards.
relatable.
Yeah. So and me, I think our whole house is a little bit crazy because I got like 10. I think I might have to stop customizing because my house looks like a bomb went off when I start customizing because I got figures on every level of the house. boxes and corners with heads that they're not allowed to touch because that goes with something and something else. And it's like we have a smaller house, but there's not a lot of space. So I think if I just stop customizing for a little bit and concentrate on the sculpting, and then maybe just do one custom, here and there. But what happens is I start picking parts, and next thing I know, I got 10 customs sitting in different parts. So.
I typically have a lot of like boxes and stuff just everywhere, and we had just gotten like it cleaned up to where a bunch of the boxes were moved out and everything was looking good, and then we launched the Paint It Up challenge, and now I've got 27 boxes of prizes sitting by my front door. So yeah,
I get stabbed in bed with a horn from some random Mythic Legions character.
Yeah.
A lot.
I gotta watch my step up here because like where the way my room is like it's like the entire upstairs. So like I have my side of the room, and then we have his side of the room where he does all of his customizing.
The business end of the room.
And that's the dangerous side of the room because there could be
razor blades, X-Acto blades,
or an Oni head with pointy horns.
Oh yeah,
that admittedly I designed, but
yeah, you didn't know that it was going to be a death toy when you designed it.
Yeah.
All right.
And my bed is literally right, like my painting desk is here and my bed is right here. So like I'll like set stuff on the bed just to get it out of the way. I don't know how many times I've gotten into bed and like rolled over on like an axe or fortunately no 3D printed pieces because I wouldn't break them. But
it'll break off and you like a splinter. You'll have to pick out some resin from underneath the skin.
And that's why we make all our heads out of rubber.
Yeah, now we move the rubber for the most part.
I did place my X-Acto knife like on my chair at one point. I misplaced it. I'm sitting there looking all over for it. And next thing I know, I jabbed myself in the leg with it. So yeah, that's not fun.
I saw a video today. There's a guy. He's got a rotary, like a hand small, like circular saw or something. And he's just shaking. And he's like, "Boss, I'm going home." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Look at my chair." And right in between he's sitting on a little metal stool. The blade was stuck right between his legs. Like it had come off the way. I don't know if it was stayed or not, but it made me laugh because it's like, that's why I don't use power tools.
That stuff really makes me cringe when I think about it. I got a thing with sharp objects, Ugh.
You can watch a horse be chopped up into a million pieces, but
yeah, you know those movies,
only like
those really cheesy movies where like they're fighting with like swords and whatnot, and like somebody slices somebody, or like it's like a scene where somebody's getting their throat slit and it just like cuts like paper. That just
Ooh, okay.
That's Tristan's thing. He doesn't like that. Every time I have an X-Acto blade, I'm opening a box of a toy or something, I always go like this at him. Dad thing, I gotta do it.
Nice. So and you guys are going to be at LegionsCon, right? Like you got your own table and everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what table number you guys are at?
We're up by Wolf King. We're up by you guys, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're in the corner.
I know we're right across from Eric LeBron, I believe.
We're next to Meta. No, we don't know the number. We're next to Meta Traveler. Wherever we're right next to them. So
okay, gotcha.
Where's the map?
So when people come in, basically probably the second row, then after they go to the Horsemen, and then it'll be in the next row.
Yeah, we're on the. I believe we're in the same like area or like line of booths as the Horsemen. We're just on the other end. We have the corner on the other end.
Okay, gotcha.
Where the Horsemen are going to be.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, once people wrap around and go into that next aisle, you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Beautiful. Anything that you guys have that you wanted to show off or talk about tonight for the show, or tease anything with?
I mean, a lot of people have seen this guy online. I mean, you probably show pictures of him, but there's the old Rockadile guy.
Now, how does the let me embiggen you real quick.
Yep.
how does the tail connect?
So there is a barbell here and here, here and here. So they plug into each other. So it's a loose connection.
Which kind of works out better.
It really is held up pretty good for as much as we've wiggled it. But
and how does it connect to the actual troll?
Okay, so let's see. We have it tied underneath there.
Oh,
okay. On the back, there, I guess you can see it right here.
Yeah.
There's a little a bar that you can tie through. There's 3 of them, so it just kind of ties on. And then this snaps on the top, and then this snaps onto this piece. We're still getting this neck joint correct, and this jaw is kind of loose on this one, but I think we've tightened that up a little bit since then. But yeah, there's that. We have feet for them. We did have a back piece we started. Cool. Well, we did have a back piece we started, but I don't know if we're going to get that together by LegionsCon. But and again, we might have. Of course, we'll be able to, like, I guess, place big orders for that. But, like, we still know we're going to price it. The tail alone, I just measured the resin. It's about 700 milliliters of resin. So that's, like, almost a whole bottle of resin.
Like, to release that is going to be super expensive.
So I don't know how many people would actually throw down for something like that. It's definitely a showpiece, you know. But, and I might paint a couple of them up and bring them there. That's going to be up there. The dragon head that I can't find that we had at PowerCon, it goes on Kragnar. We have the Scourge as well. I'll probably have a couple of those printed up. You know, we had the big WoW pieces the last couple of years, but again, this year's been kind of rough for us. I am working on something that may or may not happen, but I can't really say right now because it's there's a lot of pieces I'd have to print up, and with time constraints and the printers breaking down and the screens breaking and the film breaking, I don't know if I'm gonna get that together. But there's possible a big thing that could come. So
well, it looks like from this map, it looks like you're in that same row with Anthony Halseal and you got Detour there, and then like you said, the Meta Traveler, and then you're right there on the corner. So
30. All right, we're booth 30.
Cool.
Oh, good.
Yep. So yeah, you're basically just 2 people behind where we are.
Yeah, we'll be able to wave to you from where we're at.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
cool. We're always by Detour. He's our buddy. We've been right next to him the last two conventions.
Yeah, I think he might have something going on with Anthony Halseal, because Detour's got two tables there, and he's right next to Halseal, and I think I don't know, heard some rumblings. They may have something, some collaboration going on.
Cool.
It's probably just a little thing.
Yeah, probably short.
I mean, but it's Detour, so it probably won't be that little.
Yeah.
Like.
All right, cool. Well, hey guys, this has been a lot of fun. Like, you know, we appreciate you jumping on and just kind of, you know, giving us a little bit of your backstory and how you got into this stuff, and showing us some of the pieces that you guys have worked on. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for inviting us.
Thanks for having us. I listen to your show all the time. It keeps me up on the truck.
Well, I remember meeting you at PowerCon last year. Like, I think that was you. I feel like I met like
myself.
3. Yeah.
And you didn't know who I was. Like, we talked on the internet for a little bit.
Yeah. It was like the first time anybody like came up to me and introduced themselves because they recognized who I was. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with it. Like,
it definitely seems.
And then when I realized who you were, I was like, oh no, it's cool to meet you. Like,
I did the same thing to Curtis at LegionsCon. He just comes in, and he's sitting on the couch. And, hey, Curtis, how you doing? He's like, hi. Things are good. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew when I went up to you guys' table, because I'm always used to seeing you guys together, like, you know, so yeah. But that was man, I was still just the 4-legged thing, and then the little lasers and the things that you had propped up and stuff. Like, your table was pretty cool last year. And weren't you guys next to You were next to the layer guys, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
we
fun.
were.
Good time.
Yeah.
There's-
You were
those
right
guys-
on the right next to the horseman table. That's
Oh, yeah, you were
probably
right
why you were
across
getting
from the
bumped
horseman.
on.
Yeah, it was a little nerve wracking for me, having Eric Treadaway just like right there, just looking at my stuff.
Oh yeah, and real quick before we go, my influence, I guess, the whole time's been Eric Treadaway because I had original Spawn figures, and I thought
Okay.
Masters of the Universe 2000X were the coolest. Like that Skeletor was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then just keep on going. I found out everything that they worked on. I'm like, all right, he's my influence.
You were inspired
now
and
you
didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, right.
You can go to that checklist on the 4 horsemen for hire on the website
Right,
and just be like,
right.
yep, that one.
Right. So, all
That's
right. Well,
awesome.
thanks for having
Very
us,
cool.
guys.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's been
Thank
a
you.
really good one. And go ahead.
I want to say one last thing before you guys duck out to the green room. I just think it's really cool. We've had multiple people on over the years, or year and a half. The show's been going that are, friends working on stuff together, families working stuff together. So like the fact that all 3 of you, like the 2 of you and your wife, like get to do this stuff together, I just think is really cool, and that you can have your stuff exploded all over the house or accidentally fall asleep on some action figures or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just a really fun, cool thing that I think is just really neat. A lot of, the generation before us, it's like guys at our age talking about toys like this now, it would just be like, no, what's wrong? I'm going to go to work. I'm going to come home, eat dinner, watch some sports, go to bed. That's it. So I just think it's really cool. It's something you guys get to all do together and be a part of. I'm sure there's stressful moments and everything, but you can delete stuff or put stuff under the air conditioner and you can still come back together and fix stuff up and move on. So
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like families working on this stuff together, you guys are definitely in my top 10. I can't speak for Jesse because I don't know what his lists look like, but
He's not going to let you live that down.
Yeah, solidly in the. I mean, I would say even top 3, but he may have 13. We'll see. I don't know, but yeah, great job, guys.
Where can I go to see this list? Do you guys have it somewhere?
We were watching another show. It was in the chat, so I think it's long gone. But yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
If you're really curious, I can send you the list of my top 13 in the text.
Yeah, if you really want to vomit. So,
All right.
Well, guys, it's been a lot of fun. We look forward to seeing you at LegionsCon. Can't wait to see what you guys bring as a family, and yeah, we'll see you there. It'll be a great time.
Yeah,
So we're going to go ahead and throw you in the green room. If you got to go, that's fine. If not, just hang out and we'll be right back with you in a few minutes as we close out the show.
All right. Thanks.
Good.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. All right. Well, once again, another fun conversation with some awesome people doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It made me forget that I was mad at you for a little bit. So that was great. I enjoyed that.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
good. And you just keep watching it until you get over it.
No, we can like different things. I was just surprised. I wasn't mad, Jesse. I was just disappointed. So.
I love both of those movies. I have nothing negative to say about them. The other ones just,
Gotcha. Well, I can't wait to see Tristan and Carlo at LegionsCon. I can't wait to see everybody at LegionsCon. I mean, we get these people on here and we talk about what table they're at, and then you start zooming in on that map and looking wherever. Like every table is amazing. Like there's not, you look through that showroom and it's like every single spot. It's like, okay, I'm gonna probably dump a bunch of money there, and I'm gonna dump some here. And like, man, definitely gonna need to hit the ATM beforehand. So,
it's going to be a great time. And again, it is really cool. I'm not trying to rub salt in the family joke wound that you're making there, but I just think it's really cool that all these different people have that stuff, to come together. And it's just really cool. Because I know you and your wife do stuff. And then Brian was saying he and his wife do stuff last week.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't, last year, my wife was thinking about going, and then it was one of those where she's like, well, it's your first time meeting a lot of these people and stuff, and I don't want to get in the way, and I don't want you to feel like, you have to go to the room when you want to hang out with them or whatever. And she's like, you go this year. And then if it's a good time next year, we'll go together. So this year she's coming and my son's coming, and, she's working on some stuff for the table and stuff too. So when you can get your family involved in this stuff and you have fun together, it makes it even that much cooler. As cool as this hobby is, if you can share it with your loved ones, it's even better. So that's great.
Excellent. Well, I know we've got next week's show to announce, but before we do that, we'll mention the Painted Up. This is the last week. You have until Friday night, October 6th at midnight to post in the Mythic Legions Cabal your Painted Up challenge. Curtis has worked very hard and is dealing with tons of boxes all over his house. We were talking about this last week, putting pieces together, and just like watching him like get up and like walk around the room, and like just hearing his voice from across the room, like, well, what about this one with this one? And
I think we've put together some good prize packages, but we couldn't have done any of it if it wasn't for all the vendors and Four Horsemen and people like Immortal Collections donating prizes. So our job of trying to match it up to make it work was very easy once we had all the stuff from those folks. So
totally. And again, the live show, we'll hammer that out this week, the exact time, but it'll be next Saturday, October 7th, sometime in the probably evening, sometime. I think we'll have that attached to the featured post in the Cabal. It is backup featured there. We'll have the last couple prizes added on that you'll win if you win no matter what, and if you you have to be present to win that attendees chance package.
We don't have an exact time for the 7th, but I would say it's going to be in the evening. That morning I'll wake up and I've got to go through all the posts in the Cabal for the Painted Up and start collecting everybody's name and putting it in the wheel. So my guess is it's going to be sometime in the evening, but like Jesse said, we'll post about it beforehand. And just kind of like, we'll hammer out a time and make sure you guys know when it is so that you're not going to miss it. So
absolutely. And next Sunday night,
absolutely. I heard it.
I already finished my drink. Next Sunday night, we have the elusive final. My wife is going to kill me. Furious 4 guest Travis Bowles joining us, and man, I just realized that art does not look anything like. Usually, I can tell who the person is. I really did not do that one well this week. That looks
well. That's what he gets for evading us for so long.
Yeah.
Like we got the other 3 knocked out quick, and then he just like
I hope he remembers that he's the guest next week and shows up. We'll find out.
I hope that he's wearing clothes.
You know what? We're not going to see it unless he gets up and walk around. So it doesn't really matter to me. But yes, Travis will be on next Sunday night at 9 p.m. I was really hoping we'd get him before LegionsCon so we could have all 4 of them between the 2 events. I don't know, just a little compulsive desire on my part to have all 4 of them between the 2 conventions. So, and that's next Sunday, 9 p.m. right here on Shooting the Shelf.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
All right.
I think that's a show.
That feels like a show.
All right. Let's get this outro going. Thank you everybody for being here, whether you watch live or in the chat, or if you watch it on the replay. We really appreciate it. Had a great time talking with Carlo and Tristan, learning about their process and their journey and imagination, all that stuff. And can't wait to see them at LegionsCon and everybody else. So, are you not going to do it?
Oh, I thought you were going to set me up to make it up to me.
I know. Oh, you want to do okay? So until next time.
What's on your shelf?